Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. Obviously, Bitcoin didn't do what we thought it was going to do, at least what I thought it was going to do. I thought it was going to bounce in the morning time, or maybe not the morning, but maybe towards like the afternoon it was going to bounce, but it didn't bounce. Came down to, what was it, 57,500 mark, which is our support line. Bounced off of that. I did that again after hours here in the new day for Tuesday. We'll take a look at that. Look at the miners. Miners didn't do too well today. Also, we'll also look at, what else will we look at? Oh, Iren, right? They're buying some more. I think, what is it, 1,000 something H200's now. We'll talk about that. We also have a story from Norway where the residents are now going to be paying $300 more a month in electricity on average because a Bitcoin mining company did not get their permits to continue operations. So we'll take a look at that. And then that's basically it. We'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things and see where things go from there. All right, but as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. I'm invested in the following companies and coins. Full disclosure down below that as well. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Helps me out tremendously. Now let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin and the miners, and then we'll get into the other things here. So like I said in the beginning here, Bitcoin came down to the 57,500 mark. It bounced off of that. It's trying to do the same thing here now on the new day for Tuesday. It got as low as, what did it get as low as? 57,620, so about $120 off of our support line there. And it's still bouncing off of it a little bit. We'll see where it goes. If our support doesn't hold here at 57,000, we're going to probably be testing again this 53,750 line here potentially going forward. I'm not sure that that's going to be the case, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here on the charts, at least right now, and we'll see if that actually goes through. But yeah, we have the Fed cutting rates this week as well. We'll see what impact that has on it, and if this is really the case of what's kind of driving things down a little bit, maybe by the rumor, sell the news type of event. Okay, miners on the other hand did not have too good of a day today. There were only what is it, four that were in the green today. Any was up just a little bit. BitDeer as well. CORZ was flat, and Iren was up actually 2.25%. I think mainly because of the news of the HPC deal that they got there. Or not deal, but they're buying H200's, so we'll talk about that here in a second. And then we'll look at the network hash rate really quick as well. Reload the page quickly here. Get the latest data on it. So network hash rate has come down here on the 7-day average. It's down to 621 exahash from our top here of 693. The average, I'm sure, is going to be coming down as well. At that point, it actually went up here a little bit, 646 from where we were yesterday at 644 exahash on it. I also want to take a look at the hash rate price index on it, hash price. See where we're stacking right now. And wow, let's see, BTC, hash price per BTC. We want to have that in USD per petahash. And let's go to, this is the 1 month, 7-day average. And we're not as low as we were back on the 11th here, where we were at $38. Right now it is at $39.82. So it is pretty low, right? It's not a great price, hash price to have for the miners. Mining in this environment. That's why we really need Bitcoin to go up in value here. And I still believe that Bitcoin will go up in value more so in October and November. September was going to be a rough month for us, like it has historically at least been. But that is it on those. Let's take a look at the stories that we do have here. So the first one's going to be on the Norway story about the Bitcoin mining facility shutting down here. So Bitcoin mining shut down causes 20% surge in electricity bills. The shutdown of Bitcoin mining facility in Norway causes a 20% increase in electricity bills for the town's residents. The loss of the mining operations revenue forced the local power company to raise rates to offset the costs. Right? This is why the Bitcoin miners play an important role in small communities, rural communities, or even larger communities, where they have quite a bit of an impact on the cost of electricity for the residents there. And we were seeing this with other companies that are in the United States. Cleanspark is a good example of that, right? Residents where Cleanspark operates are seeing lower electricity costs, lower property taxes, and all those things. So there's a lot of benefits to having the Bitcoin miners in place. But they do complain here about the noise. Well, noise can be fixed if you know how to do it properly. But Crypto Vault operated the mining facility for 20% of the local power company's Nora and Enet revenue. With the loss of its largest customer, Noranet is raising prices for households to compensate. So that's something you might see going forward as well. Locals had complained for years about noise from the mine's cooling fans. However, due to the closure, residents are now faced with paying several $100s more per year for electricity. When such a large individual customer switches off overnight, it has an impact, said Noranet manager. The company estimates bills could rise by up to $300 monthly. That's a huge increase. I don't know what they're paying now, but $300 monthly increase, that is definitely substantial. While unhappy about the price hikes, head sales mayor said the municipality must deal with the consequences of losing a major power consumer under the regulations. He said the town will now seek new projects to utilize excess energy capacity. So this might be a good place for an HPC play, right? If somebody can get in there, but buy that facility out, convert it over to HPC. Depending on what the price of electricity is there. It doesn't say here in the article, but that might be something to keep in mind there. And then the situation highlights how Bitcoin mining can help reduce electricity costs by distributing grid expense to a larger customer base. Bitcoin mines' continued operations would have prevented the rate spike for citizens. Yeah, I believe that as well. So that's just one of the things is be careful what you wish for, especially when you're a resident. I know some of those machines can get loud. The data centers can get pretty loud. But that's why they should be placed in industrial settings, not in nearby residential areas and things like that. Unless you're using like immersion cooling at that point, that should be reduced noise impact on it as well. Okay, so that's it on that one. Just thought that was kind of interesting to note there. And then Iren to increase AI cloud services to 10% of earnings. So this is actually pretty interesting here. We heard recently from, I believe it was Dan, the co-CEO there at Iren. He said that the H200's right now are looking to have an ROI, so return on investment, approximately closer to like 30 months instead of the 24 months that they were anticipating originally. So that's, I don't know if this is the reason why they're buying the H200's, which are more efficient, faster, better, that they can maybe recoup those costs within the 24 months that they were thinking of. But it's just interesting to see that they are buying more machines here. So today, Iren announced the purchase of 1,080 latest generation NVIDIA H200 GPUs to support its growing AI cloud services business. We're seeing strong levels of demand for new generation GPUs. Ongoing discussions with NVIDIA and participation in their cloud partner program gives us added confidence in deploying this new capacity. So Daniel Roberts, co-founder and co-CEO of Iren. Okay, so let's break this down. Where was it at? Okay. We're seeing strong levels of demand for new generation GPUs. Okay, so what does that mean for their older generation, the H200's? How profitable will those be? And can they actually get the ROI on those in 30 months? Or is they going to increase to like 36 months or something like that? Who knows, right? So that's a question there. They didn't go into the specifics on it as well. And then ongoing discussions with NVIDIA and participation in their cloud partner program. So is this the only way that they're going to be getting customers? I know that they were dealing with, I believe it was, who was that bank there? I'm drawing a blank on it right now. It's one of the big banks. It wasn't Chase, I don't think. It was somebody else. Goldman Sachs, I think it was, to help them find potential customers for the HPC business there, I believe. We haven't heard anything from that yet. What else? Let's see. Yeah, so the cloud program gives them added confidence in deploying this. So they're thinking that maybe through that cloud program there, they'll generate customers and revenue potentially from it, but nothing concrete. They don't have a customer that's signed up for this yet. It's just they're deploying this, and basically, in my view, the way I see it is they're hoping they're going to get customers because of it. Okay. So Iren is purchasing 10,000 or 1,080 of the latest generation NVIDIA H200 GPUs for $43.9 million. Footnote number 2, with delivery and commissioning expected during Q4 of 2024. So basically October, November, December timeframe. This purchase increases Iren's overall GPU fleet to 1,896 NVIDIA H100s and H200 GPUs. $32 million of estimated annualized hardware profit. So that's footnote number 3. So they're estimating it. There's nothing concrete there yet. Let's see, a current Iren installed capacity of 18.8 exahash. So they didn't increase that even more. They were at 16. Well, so I think they are going to definitely get their 20 exahash this month here. So this is actually really, really good news here. I almost skipped this part. Let me see here. Put that in green. So this is really, really good news. Them getting 20 exahash for this month. Yeah, 18.8. They only have to put in, 1.2 more exahash, and they're golden. So this is good news. Okay. What else do we have here? 20,000 electricity cost per Bitcoin mined here, 31,000 all in cash cost per Bitcoin mined. So those are all good things here. And then here's the illustrative economics, number 3, footnote, annualized exit run rate, end of 2024. AI cloud services, 33 million. Electricity cost, 1 million. Hardware profit, 32 million. Okay. Percentage portion of 10%. Bitcoin mining, 90%. And you can see the breakdown there. Here's the assumptions and notes here. So it's kind of interesting to take a look at this as well. Number 3, so illustrative annualized hardware profit equals illustrative revenue less assumed electricity costs, excludes all other site overhead and renewable energy certificate costs. Calculations assume hardware operates at 100% uptime. AI cloud services calculations assumes 1.25 kilowatts power draw per GPU, 45 cents per kilowatt electricity cost, and lower end of a $2 to $2.50 per GPU hour revenue assumption range. Bitcoin mining calculations assume 60,000 Bitcoin price. Okay, so that's kind of what the assumptions there are for the HPC business, and then go into the Bitcoin mining things. What else do we have here? There was that one. So that's kind of what they're assuming there that they could possibly get for it. If they can get that, that's how they're going to be able to generate the revenue there that they're talking about here by the end of the year. Right now, the revenue that they are getting for HPC is like 1.2 million. That was at the end of August here. We won't know for September. And I believe their poolside contract ended with them as well at the end of August here. So we'll have to see what kind of profits or what kind of revenues they get now from HPC with that. And is this in maybe direct response to poolside stopping them or ending the contract there with them? Is that why they're getting the H200s? Because poolside wants the H200s? That could be also a factor there as well. Okay. But that's it on Iren. My thoughts on it is, I wish they would have had a customer in hand before they did this, because now you're kind of like, if you're looking at it basically, if you build it, they will come. But what if they don't come? That's the question I always have with this stuff, especially since we've had all this talk about how much there's demand for all this HPC AI, but yet where has it been materializing into actual contracts for customers or for miners actually? The only ones that we've seen has been Core and really Bit Digital. So far, with any decent customers there, others have been playing in this field. They're getting 1 million something in revenue a month for it, like Hive. I don't know what Hut 8 is at, but Iren was getting 1 million something as well a month in revenue. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess. See how things play out. I'm still bullish on Iren, and it's more so on their Bitcoin mining than it is on their HPC potential right now. That's just the way I'm seeing it currently. Okay, so if we look at Iren here, Iren, this is as of today's stock price. I mean, its market cap is 1.4, had a okay day today. It was up 2 point some percent. But the reason it really ran up here recently was, if we look at the stock price of Iren, if we go back, it was because of their growth for this year. And then we had a short report come out on them, which was, I think, perfectly timed by the shorts, actually, because at that point, Iren was looking like it was tremendously overvalued at that point. So if we look at Iren here on the chart here really quick, we can see that Iren peaked at about 1575 here. It's come down like, what is it, down 50% roughly from the top here, right? The short report came out like right around this period in July here. And after that, the stock has not done well. Neither has Bitcoin, so that's kind of a contributing factor to it as well. But Iren, from the peak here to the bottom where it was down approximately almost 60%. That's a huge drawdown from where it came from. If we look at where it went from the bottom to the top here on it as well, we can see that it went from here all the way up to here. It went up 282%, right? So it had a huge run up here. We got the short report, which was, I believe, perfectly timed by the short, whoever it was. I can't remember the company that was shorting him. They came out with the report now. But it was well timed. We saw this similar to, who was the other one that was similarly timed? Hut 8, I believe, at that point as well. And there was somebody else that was pretty well timed where things were just not making sense as far as if you look at what their exahash was and their enterprise value. So if you look at those, that ratio there, it was definitely way overvalued at that point. And, well, I don't know how much the impact the short report had, but Bitcoin going down as well didn't help things. So we are where we are right now, but I think it should do much, much better going forward once Bitcoin starts picking back up a little bit here. And I'm guessing somewhere around in October, November should be much better months for us. But only time will tell on that point. Okay, so that is it for that. Let's see, there's no updates to the charts today, so we're not going to do a sales pitch, but anybody that wants to access to all my figures and data and everything else, link is down in the description for that for Patreon membership, and you guys can get access to all this stuff there. All right, so I think that's it. So let's get into the Q&A side of things here if you guys have any questions or not, and we'll call it a day. So today was actually a pretty easy day considering all things. Okay, let's see what we got as far as questions here. Mark says, go Iren. George says, hi from North Carolina. Hi, I'm in Illinois. Sadie, 2 thumbs up. Thank you so much. Chester, thank you so much for the super chat. Embrace the boredom. Got in 13 months ago to prepare for the next cycle. Patience will pay off. Just remember, being too greedy is your enemy. I agree, yeah. Let's see. Iren contracted Morgan Stanley. Okay, thank you for that. For their field of HPCI contracts, highly doubt they are spending all this money on new H200 machines and talked about increasing the revenue without having customers. Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes you need the infrastructure to get the customers, and there might be something in the discussions with the customers there that, you know, you got to get these machines or we're not going to go with you, and that could be also part of it. So I would expect them to get some customers, but are they going to be long-term customers or are they going to be short-term customers? That's another question there. Andre says, you are so gloomy about this news, Iren. I am a little bit gloomy on the HPCI overall for the miners. It's not just Iren. It's just for anybody that's getting into it here, except for maybe CORZ and BitDigital, which they have, you know, BitDigital has a contract for 100 million, roughly 100 million right now a year. CORZ has a huge contract for 12 years for like 4.some billion. So I'm more positive on those guys than I am on everybody else that's trying to get into the space. And only because we keep hearing all this talk about how there's just so much demand, and there's so little megawatts out there. But yet we saw X build out their HPC, the fastest HPC language model learning center that they built out. I don't know how many machines they have in there within like, 4 or 5 months or something like that. It was just crazy. So that's kind of where my thoughts are. With hyperscalers are going to build out by themselves. They're not going to go with the miners potentially. We're seeing that with X. We're seeing with Amazon, Google, Microsoft, all those guys. I just don't know how much they're going to be able to get out of that business there. Let's see. Why would they spend $40 million and have machines sitting around doing nothing? You're assuming the worst. They clearly have customers to run all these machines. They might have it, right? But nothing has been reported yet. See, talk about Iren adding 8 exahash in 1.5 months. Yeah, like I said, that was bullish. That's great news. That's why I'm in them. More so, that's why I said I'm more in them in Bitcoin mining than I am for the HPC side of things. Hank says, the ongoing discussions with NVIDIA on participation in their cloud partner program sounds very promising for Iren. Thanks. Yeah, it does. It sounds promising. And hopefully it leads to customers if they don't already have one. Hank says, there must be something coming. I would assume so, but there isn't anything reported yet. That's why I'm a little bit maybe negative on it right now. I wish they would have came out with, we're buying 1,080 BTC or HPC 200's, and we're also getting this customer for X amount of months. That would have been great. Eddie says, Iren is taking their time to fix the right company to partner up with. Quality over quantity will win the long term. I expect a huge AI deal, either Q4 or Q1. That would be great, right? If they can do that, that would be absolutely fantastic. Victor CS, if you had to choose between Iren and Cleanspark, which one would you pick? Cleanspark is still, I think, my favorite out of those two. But I would say right now it would be a close second. It would probably be like the second place right now for Iren. Only because Cleanspark has a proven track record of growing and actually beating their targets for the most part. It's not 100% for them, but it's like 95, 90%, whatever it might be on that. And then Cleanspark is just, they're not getting into the HPC business. I'm a little doubtful of the HPC business still right now, but that could change with time. And they're just more of a pure play Bitcoin mining at this point. So they're just concentrating on all that stuff there. So plus I've gotten into Cleanspark a lot earlier than I had in Iren. Iren had a little fumble there back in 2022. They recovered from it and have done much, much better since then. Let's see. Hank says Iren's exahash growth had been incredible. Yeah, I agree. That's why I bought Cleanspark, Iren, Bitfarms Friday. I bought a bunch of shares in those guys. Scott says, thanks so much for the Norway mining info. I was worried about the Stop Bitcoin Miners group. It shows be careful what you wish for. Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. Are you assuming You're assuming too negatively. You're basically insulting Dan and the management and saying they are spending all this money on new machines for no reason. Read the news again. I know that they're buying machines, but to me, if I read it even again, right, there's nothing in there that says there's assumptions for what they could get. There's also estimates for what they could get. I want to see actual signed contracts for customers that will get there. Assumptions, estimates, fine and great, but I want to see, dotted lines, dotted T's, or cross T's, dotted I's on a contract. Then that's freaking fabulous. They can get that, which I'm sure they will in time, but I just don't know exactly when that will happen. They could come out tomorrow with the press release saying, hey, we got the customer for this. Let's see. Iren would be at like 30 exahash right now if they didn't have to return their mining equipment back in 2022. Their comeback is insane. Yep. Yeah, they returned. I don't know if they would be at 30. They returned 3 to like 3.5 exahash at that point. So I wouldn't quite get them to 30 exahash right now. Let's see. Andy says 50 basis points or 25 basis rate cut on Wednesday. See me Fed Watch predicting 65% chance of 50. Now, wow, okay, so that has definitely increased. I was thinking originally that they're going to stay at 25. I don't think they want to freak out the market just yet going 50 basis points. Things have been slowing down. The economy has been slowing down. Jobs have been getting worse, right? Inflation has been coming down as well. So I don't know if they want to spook the horse too fast. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what we come up with on Wednesday. BTC price estimates this end of December. I'm thinking somewhere between 80 and 100. I don't know exactly where it's going to be, but that's kind of where I'm guessing things will be. Russ D says, Jason from Riot is building out a poker room. I would imagine he already has a poker room. Let's see. Hardcore Iren crowd tonight. Watch out, up. Yeah, I see that. You guys, I'm also an Iren bull here. I'm skeptical on the HPC for any miner, whether it's Iren, whether it's for Hive, whether it's for Cypher, TeraWolf. I'm just not seeing it right now. Things could change, and things could definitely sway my opinion on it if we start seeing larger or maybe longer term contracts with substantial amounts of revenue for them. Right now we're seeing these kind of 3 to 6 month contracts for these guys. And that's why I keep saying I'm skeptical about it. Might give them some extra revenue, sure. But you're going to be, you're going to be always chasing a customer, I guess, is the way to put it, right? CoreWeave and the Core Scientific deal is completely different. CoreWeave is trying to become like an AWS play. They're going to build out and they're going to get customers there. So that's a little bit different of a company there all around. Everybody else is kind of trying to get these basically end users of the HPC to build out their large language models and whatever else they're going to be using it for the AI side of things. Whereas me coming into this, if I'm going to be building I don't have a lot of experience developing, but I had some experience building websites and things like that in the past. Did my bachelor's degrees in computer information systems, so I have a little bit of knowledge in this stuff. And if I was to build out an application that uses HPC AI or something like that, I'm going to build it out with like AWS, Google, or Microsoft, where I can scale that sucker quickly if I need to, especially if it takes off. Right? The reason that OpenAI did really well was they basically partnered with Microsoft, and all those users that they were able to get, they were able to scale quickly. Right? If you're going with some of these smaller miners where you have, HPC 100s or HPC 200s in there, and you need to go live with something and you need to scale out, you're probably going to be moving to somebody else because it's not to bash the miners, but they just don't have the scale to do it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from this as well. Hank says, I think Bitfarms hosting with Stronghold was smart, getting the miners plugged in sooner rather than later. It's thinking ahead, and then when the acquisition takes place, they are ahead of the game. Yeah, I think it's a good move on them. There could be some concerns also with Paraguay not maybe built out in time. We don't know about that. They're still planning to get to 21 exahash. So that leads me to believe that with them partnering with Stronghold for hosting and still getting only to 21 exahash, there might be some issues there at Paraguay, maybe. We don't know that for sure. Let's see. Mark says, I'm with Sebastian. Tangible contracts matter. He's being realistic and shows his patience and experience. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's nice to be a little hypey about things. Do what ifs if they get this contract, estimates, possible things. Yes, it's all great there. Andrew says there is no possible way they are spending that much money to have the machines sit around doing nothing. That's basically calling the management stupid. I'm not calling the management stupid. I'm saying that there's possible strings attached with it, right? The only reason they're buying these machines is because they maybe have a customer that requires this. I'm also saying that it could be also one of those things where they're maybe hoping, maybe not hoping, but maybe they are counting on, getting the partnership program with NVIDIA that spills over to them getting customers there as well. Hank says, we love you, Sebastian. I appreciate it. Thank you. Andre, read the news again. I'll read the news again, but, that's just kind of where I stand on it. Don't get me wrong. I still love Iren a lot, and I've invested a lot in them as well. Mark says that isn't what Seb was saying, Andre. Let's see, Hank, you guys are coming to my defense. I appreciate that. Yes, Sebastian didn't say anything negative about Iren at all. Andre says he's saying they bought machines for no reason and are going to. I didn't say they were going to sit around with no customers. I just said they're possibly buying these with, it's one of those things, build and they will come. So that could be also that, which I'm right now we don't know. You're, I think, being more optimistic on it than I am, with them possibly having a customer there already in place for that. I'm being a little bit more cautious about it, I think. Right, but to me, it doesn't really matter. If they get an HPC customer, great. If they don't get an HPC customer, they'll get one in time. But for me, it's more on the Bitcoin mining side that I'm more bullish on this than HPC right now. Okay, Mark says, is it possible they have ordered before securing a contract? Else, show us the numbers company they're signing contract with. Yeah, so kind of the same point that I'm saying here. The AI markets are projected to grow compound annual growth rate of roughly 37 per year. By 2027, revenue will be around 400 billion. By then, we'll have over 1 gigawatt of renewable energy data center. Yes, data center, but will it be a data center for HPC, right? Companies, I've talked about this before also, companies like AWS, right, as a quick, just an example on it, they spent $34 billion already this first half of the year. They're going to spend another $30 billion on building out HPC, AI, data centers, and all that stuff later on this year. How much can the miners build out, right? Without having a substantial customer there, that's why I'm saying if anybody is getting into HPC AI, they're going to either try to partner up with Amazon, Google, Microsoft, or an Oracle, all right, or somebody else like that that's already a hyperscaler, then trying to do, they might do little projects here and there with some of them smaller miners to maybe test out their thesis. Does this language model that they're working on, does that work out? Does it work well for them? If it does, then they're going to move over to somebody that's a large scale, hyperscaler. Let's see. James says, I guess that's the reason Iren partnered with Morgan Stanley to get new HPCI customers for them. I think the news was months ago. Yes, that was, they partnered with them, but we haven't heard anything yet concrete out of it. They said there's a lot of positive talks. They have some NDAs in place. Okay, that's all great. And that might be also part of the NDA is, if they're getting a customer requests that they have H200's. Maybe that's the case. Hank says that is true. Let's hope things are okay in Paraguay. Yeah, I mean, even if they're delayed by a month or two, that's not a big deal. They're still getting 21 exahash right now. Andre says, assuming the worst. I'm not assuming the worst. I'm just not that bullish on HPC right now. So I want to see some definite numbers. How much lower can Bitfarms go? 189 today seems crazy. It does seem crazy. I think it can go a little bit lower if Bitcoin goes lower. All the miners will probably go lower with that as well. Mark says, with NVIDIA, you got to get your orders in ASAP. Andre says, management hasn't proved themselves competent enough, yet Iren gets job done and cleared. Oh, yeah, they're definitely competent. I'm not saying that they're not. But I still have questions around HPC. That's it. Them building out infrastructure, getting the HPC or Bitcoin miners installed, ASICs, all that stuff. Fantastic job. That's why I'm invested in them. I'm still bullish on them. It's just I'm a little, tepid on the HPC. Do you recall if Iren had a customer lined up with the original H200 purchase? I think they had Poolside at that point. They were working with Poolside, I believe. But I could be wrong on that. But I believe they had somebody lined up. Let's see. If Iren does not develop a HODL strategy soon, they will just be mining for no reason. Why mine the best asset on earth just to sell? The dumbest business strategy. They've used it to grow. There's pluses and minuses to all this stuff here. It's not a, winner takes all or anything like that. There's benefits to also just selling it outright so you can grow. You're diluting your shareholders less. And then if you're hodling it, there's also benefits to that as well if you can time it well. So the only one that's really timed it well recently has been Cleanspark in the last cycle. Okay. Ryan Buell celebrates 18 months of membership. Don't forget to like the video, share the love. I appreciate it. Thanks. And thanks for being a member for 18 months. Man, time flies. See, Andre says, ask Bryce and Anthony Power to clear up the questions with Dan and at Iren and ask them if they have contracts for the H200 machines they just purchased. They won't be able to say that they have anything unless it's been already released to the public. So if they haven't released it already, they probably don't. Right, I would think they would have to release that information if they have that. Let's see. Hank says it would be nice to get a nice update on Paraguay soon. Yeah, that would be great from Bitfarms. Thoughts on the reaction after the FOMC meeting? I thought the meetings tomorrow, isn't it? Tomorrow and Wednesday? Is that when they usually have them? Okay. If you read the news again, there is figures about 10% of the revenue. I don't think they pulled those numbers out of the dream. Actually, they did. So this is where we need to go back to it and look at it. Let's see here. Where was it at? We saw it here. Illustrative. Okay, let me pull this up on the screen. That might maybe help. Illustrative economics. What was that? Gosh, I keep forgetting that term for it. Note foot, or you know what I mean. The number 3 here, right? So that's illustrative economics. So this is not something that they are going to have. This is something that they believe they will have. So illustrative annualized hardware profit equals illustrative revenue less assumed electricity costs, excludes all other site overhead and renewable energy cost calculations, assume hardware operates at a 100% uptime. AI cloud service calculations assume 1.25 kilowatts per power draw per GPU, 4.5 cents per kilowatt electricity cost, and lower end of a $2 to $2.50 per GPU hour revenue assumption range. This is the assumption range, right? So this is all estimated, right? This is not something that they have definitive yet on it, unfortunately, right? This is illustrative economics. This is not concrete economics on it that we know for a fact. That's why I'm saying, we need to wait and see what they do get as far as a customer there. Or they might already have one, but it just hasn't been signed yet because this is dependent on them getting the H200's also. That could be also the case. Let's see. Chester, just food for thought. Historically, new miners that go public not long before the halving go bananas. Looking at Griffin. Well, Griffin, it also depends on how well they're growing and everything else. But yes, they will catch a bid up when Bitcoin goes up. All the miners will do that anyways. Let's see. Andre, have a beer. Yeah. Listen, Andre, I'm with you. This is from Hank. Angie, a beer. Eddie, a beer. Jester, a beer. Everybody's giving you a beer, Andre. Let's see. With miners constantly being upgraded and replacing more exahash all the time, at some point in time, Iren should start to hodl. Potentially, yeah. Fred says, Seb, love your updates. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. Iren bulls look at it this way. You get a bounce today and you'll get a bounce when they announce the contract. It's a win-win. Yeah, very good way to look at it. Hank says, agree, Scott. Yeah. All right. I'm not like 100% bearish on it. It's just I wish there was more information on it as far as do they have a customer now? how did they come to this decision to buy more, right? There has to be something behind it. But maybe the things aren't signed yet. Who knows? Time will tell if they do have one out there. But there's obviously many things that can go into it. What else we got here? All right, I think I'm caught up to all you guys' questions here. Let's see, did I miss something? I did not miss anything. Okay. What else? Hold on. Let me see. What did I miss here? Yeah. Let me see. Can we do something with that one? I can't. Okay. All right. Let's see if anything else popped up. Sorry. Distracted there for a second. Eddie Trent says, why do you hate Iren? Andre doesn't hate Iren. Iren's probably a little bit more bullish than I am, I think, on it right now with everything. Let's see. Okay. All right, here we go. Do you expect all these miners to get even more crushed on Wednesday with the rate cut than they already have? Depending if it's going to be one of those sell the news events, we might go down a little bit more, but I mean, how much more can we go down Bitcoin? We could go down to like 53,000 mark. I think that's kind of where we've been bouncing off of it recently. So I expect a little bit maybe of a drop, but I was thinking this was going to be all priced in right now. Usually rate cuts are also bullish for risk on assets, what Bitcoin is, the miners are also. So we might have a couple of days of things going down, and then after that I would expect things to kind of bounce back up, but who knows. Hank says, thank you, Sebastian, you're a golden brother. I appreciate it. Thank you, Hank. Let's see. Ryan says, have you done a video on the microcap miners lately? I did one on yesterday's stream. It was late night. It was did it like 11 something. But I covered Argo, Digihost, and DMG. We'll cover the other three, which is Mawson, Sphere, and Stronghold on next week's one, on next Sundays. I know you don't track their every move, but they might still have a place in people's portfolios for diversification purposes. Griffin, it's okay. So I don't cover Griffin. Any I cover them, and Argo I do cover still. So I still look at those to see what they're doing. In the first three, there's not much going on there. Was it Digihost? I think increased their hash rate a bit there, but still not much. Let's see. Andre says, there needs to be more clarity. I agree. So you're talking about Iren there. Yeah. Fred asks, is that vodka, cranberry, and water? It is. Yeah. My late night one drink before I go to bed. Let's see. Hey, Sebastian, will you be able to share how much Iren and Cleanspark shares you have? You are doing an amazing job of providing us available knowledge on miners. I appreciate that. Thank you. Iren, I'd have to look at the numbers. I don't look at the numbers. I look at the dollar amounts. But the Cleanspark's around 8,000 shares. Iren should be like around 4,000 shares. Somewhere, yeah, it should be like 4,000 shares, I believe. Somewhere around there. James says rate cuts 50 basis points at 60% now. Okay, yeah, we'll see what that comes out to be. Andre says, at this rate, Iren will be at 20x before the end of September. The management deliver what they say they will. Clear the process of plugging in new machines is going very well. Yeah, that's why I said that. I highlighted that part of it. They're at 18.8 exahash now or something, 18.2 exahash right now. That is fantastic news. So they are going to get to 20 exahash, and I'm expecting them to get to 30 exahash by the end of the year. That is fabulous news. When do you plan on selling during the 2025? I'm going to possibly start around May, sell in May, go away. Yeah, we'll have to see where Bitcoin is at that point. I'm going to probably start selling Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, but the miners when Bitcoin's at 100,000. I'll start slowly dollar cost averaging out of these guys as well. Hank says Iren is killing it. Yep, I agree. Hi, Sub. Are you concerned about any miner who might struggle to survive in the current market conditions if Bitcoin doesn't go up soon? Thank you. No, a lot of these miners are right now very, very well capitalized, funded even, you could say, with some having very strong balance sheet right now. So I don't see that as an issue. The only way I would see this as an issue if this goes on for much, much longer time frame. So if the hash price stays at, in the high 30s, mid 30s, whatever it might be, for like 6 months, then yes, then I would start getting a little bit more concerned. But right now, not right now. Price target now for Iren with AI playing to cycle peak. They're saying possibly 10% of their revenue is going to be in AI, so we have to add that on top of it. That's tough. I would have to run the numbers on it. Adding another 10% of revenue on top of what Bitcoin could go to in their operations. I still think, I mean, if we can get to like $70, $80 on Iren, that's going to be huge for anybody that's owned it here. Chris, how you doing? Iren was dumping the most, and then boom, pump news. Oh, well, junk. Well, Iren's not junk. I know you're a big fan of Riot, but not every other miner than Riot is junk. But yeah, anytime you get news on HPC AI recently, we saw that with TeraWolf, we saw that with others as well. They're going to pump because of that news, because there's just, it's, I don't know if it's more so retail. I think it's more so on the institutional side of things that they're just looking for anything that's HPC AI right now. Let's see. Hank's got 13,000 shares. Holy cow. Way to go, Hank. Why do you think Iren will go higher than Cleanspark? Number of shares. Cleanspark has more number of shares than Iren. With Iren being at like $80, I think that would get him to, what is that, like a 12 billion market cap. And with Cleanspark getting to like $65, $70, somewhere around there, their market cap would be like, I would have to run the numbers, but around like 18 billion, I think, without looking at the numbers really quick, just somewhere around there. So that's the difference between the two. Plus, Cleanspark has a bigger hodl position, so that's why I think they might catch a bigger market cap than Iren does. But stock price is going to be different because number of shares outstanding. Let's see. Oh, okay. Everyone be nice. Chris is just a big bull on Riot. Riot is junk, Chris. Let's be real. They're not junk. They just haven't been performing well. They have a lot of possibilities. There are a lot of opportunities to fix things. Let's see. What else we got here? With BTC going towards yielding on Babylon and others layer 2s like stacks and hodl through locked up BTC Ethereum or ETFs, how do you think miners will be able to make money off transaction fees in the future? Well, we need more transactions, to be honest, really. When things are being moved over to like the Lightning Network and things like that, that's also contributing to lower fees. But in the long run, we definitely need more transactions on it. They're going to have to figure out a way to cram, more transactions into a block, possibly, in order for the miners to eventually, unless Bitcoin continues to go up to like 1 million or 15 million or something like that. Well, at that point, it doesn't really matter if the transaction fees are there, because just the incentives alone on the reduced number of Bitcoins they're getting per reward is still going to be so high that it doesn't really matter at that point. But if Bitcoin stays at $1 million come in the next 8 to 12 years or something like that, and stays that way for 100 years, then that's going to be definitely tricky for the miners. They're going to have to rely more on the transaction fees then. Okay. Can Cleanspark $35 to $50 is bull run holding? Okay, wow, you got a lot of shares. Yeah, I do believe so. As long as Bitcoin goes to like 150,000, 180,000, I do believe so. We can get there, maybe a little bit north of that. I'm thinking like somewhere between 65 and 70, maybe on the lower end, $60 even. So somewhere around there, I would be looking at that. All right, I think we're all caught up here on everything. Let me see if I have anything else popping up here that I might have missed. One more question, a couple more questions. Let's see. BitDeer is up 20% over the last week. What is driving that rise? We had Bitcoin going up last week. A lot of the miners actually did better than Bitcoin at that point, so that's more or less the reason why there. And then do you think Bitcoin will hit 100,000 by end of year? I don't know. That might be tough. I'm guessing somewhere between 80 and 100,000. Don't know exactly where it's going to get to. But as long as we get past our previous all-time high here this year, which was just before the halving event of 73,000, if we can get past that, get to like 80,000, 90,000, I think that would be a good sign that we still have kind of a similar cycle that we had in the past. But we'll have to wait and see. Do you think BitDeer is undervalued? I do think they are slightly undervalued right now. And the reason for that is they're not being valued on their growth this year or into next year even really. They don't have a lot of growth here. A lot of their growth is going to be into middle of 2025 and then into 2026 more so there. But they do have, I mean, they're getting vertically integrated with their own ASICs, their own infrastructure, all that stuff. They have a lot of stuff going on, but it's more towards the second half of 2025 and into 2026. So I think that's why they're being undervalued right now for that. Let's see. There's no need for us as the Bitcoin mining community to fight each other as to which miner is junk and which one is not. If you're not a good miner, you're gonna make 600%. A bad miner will make 300%. Yeah, right. I agree with you. We're all here to learn. We're all here to potentially make some money as well on this. Some miners will do better than others, and even the ones that we think might do great, right? Where I think Cleanspark and Iren and Bitfarms will do great. Well, maybe they don't, and maybe it is that Riot outperforms those guys here. We just don't know. There's just too many variables in all of this stuff, and investor sentiment, institutions, all this stuff plays a role into it. So who knows, right? But I try to be more or less positive on the miners. You know, even like Riot's had bad performance over the last 52 weeks. Their operations have been great over the last 18 to 24 months, but I'm still hopeful that they can fix those things. And like Jason said, where they're supposed to get to curtailing only like 95% of the time, or not, sorry, 95%, 5% of the time to getting like 95% uptime at Corsicana on average over a year. I'm still hopeful that that's going to happen. Let's see. Do you feel right now Riot is undervalued compared to Cleanspark and Mara? It's undervalued. I don't know if it's more undervalued than, well, let's take a look at the enterprise value really quick. We haven't really done that. Let me pull that up. Based on the enterprise value to exahash right now, it does look like Riot is more undervalued right now than the other ones. This is as of today here. So Riot is being valued at 51 million per exahash, whereas Cleanspark's at 68, Iris is at 69, Bitfarms is at 72, Marathon is at 97 million, right? So all these guys here are currently more undervalued than like Marathon is going forward. If you look at future hash rate, we now see that Riot is still the most undervalued here at 30 million, followed by Cleanspark at 32 million, Iris at 37, Hive at 37, Bitfarms at 40, whereas Marathon is at 61. Then you got, you know, a company like TeraWolf that doesn't have basically any future hash rate growth planned right now, and they're being valued at $150 million for their future hash rate, which is kind of where they're at right now. So it does look a little ridiculous to me the way things are right now. But with Riot, it's also their operations, their uptime, that also has an impact on them right now, I think, as well. Okay, so that covers that one. Let's go back to the Q&A. Sad things here. Let's see. Covered that. What else we got here? Okay, would you rather hodl 28,000 shares of Cleanspark or 150,000 shares of Bitfarms? Which would be the better ROI? Okay, that's a tough one. So as we know, Bitfarms has Riot, right, on their back right now, trying to buy them out. Well, not really buying out. They don't have an offer in place, but they're just trying to make board changes to then possibly buy them out or take them over. They own like 19.9% of the company as it is also. So there's always that, right? They're also a Canadian-based company. There's been a bunch of FUD around them in the past several, I would say, well, not so much recently here. They've done a lot better job. But in the past, going back to about 2-3 months back, there was a lot of FUD about Paraguay, Bitcoin mining there, costs associated with that, costs associated with Canada as well, the CEO, stuff that happened. So there was just a lot of things there. But right now, I think they should be at least a 2x from where they are right now, just to be fairly valued with the other companies. And given where they possibly should get to, I think there might be some more upside with Bitfarms right now. Whereas Bitfarms, I think, might go, you know, maybe like a 7x from where it's at right now, compared to Cleanspark, where I think it still could go. Where's it at? That's like at $10 right now. Where's it at today? I missed it. Cleanspark, whatever it was at. Where did Cleanspark end up today? At $9, right? So it could still do like a 6x, 6+x, somewhere around there. So I think there might be a little bit more potential, not much, but a little bit more with Bitfarms potentially, if they catch the bid from the investors and get right off their back and things like that. So there's a lot of things that play along with it. I think the safer bet possibly would be Cleanspark, right? There's no strings attached. They're just executing, doing great. but that's kind of where I'm seeing things. Okay. Metadoc says, Iren and Cleanspark both have low joules per terahash. How do Mara and Riot compare currently? I would have to look at the information that they reported on their updates. I don't have that in my sheet. I do have it in my sheet, but my numbers are a little bit off from what they report, and I'd rather give you guys what they actually report on it than what I have. My numbers are based on what I'm thinking is installed, whereas they're providing actually what is installed on it. So, but I believe Mara is pretty low. Riot's getting lower as well. Riot's got a lot of machines coming online, but yeah. Let's see, the profit margins for Iren, since they are 16 joules per terahash, will be insane. 58 to 90% margins. Yeah, that definitely helps. Improving your efficiencies on the fleet there. And then let's see. Hank had a comment here. Let's see if it pops up here really quick, and then we'll call it a day. Iren efficiency is insanely low. Love it. Yeah. That's why I'm in Iren. I'm in Cleanspark. I'm in Bitfarms, and I got a little bit of CORZ as well. But I love all those miners, right? If they have HPC or even if they don't have HPC, it doesn't really matter to me. For me, it's great operations, great uptime. Management has done well. Well, for Bitfarms, it's doing really well right now, but I think in the past it kind of wasn't doing maybe that great. But they had great operations because of Ben. But that's it. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see what happens tomorrow with Bitcoin miners. We'll see if there's any news or anything like that. And then we'll look at maybe some metrics if I can pull those numbers together as well. Okay. So that is it. Thank you so much for coming in. Love you all. Have a great night or a great day if you're starting out the day already in the morning someplace, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it might be ahead of us on that. So I wish you guys the best. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. All right. Bye.